Hi, and we're back with number 7 video. No, 8. Sorry, video number 8 in the series of God knows what we're doing here. I hope you're enjoying it. Um, I know I'm enjoying it. I mean, I could probably do this for hours and hours and hours. But that's the problem. Apparently, a lot of people are watching the first 5 minutes and going, I'm bored. Let's go watch, you know, Adult Swim or something, or Judge Judy. Um, So they're clicking off after 5 minutes. Okay, if it's too long for you, watch 5 minutes, put pause, go walk around, have supper, feed the cats, come back, watch the next 5 minutes. Click pause, go away, come back tomorrow, watch the next 5 minutes. I mean, it's not that hard. It really isn't. Because there's more content. There's content all the way through the videos, and I hate for people to just not watch the rest of the video because you might be in it. There you go. I mean, it's good quality content. Um, Today I want to talk briefly. I'm going to keep my eye on the clock about being in a symphony orchestra. And people have asked, what's it like? It's like a member of a team, and if your coach says go out there and jump up and down and stick your finger in your eye and do the hokey pokey, that's what you do. You don't have a lot of individualism. You can't do an improv right in the middle of Tchaikovsky's Fourth. I mean, you could, but you get fired for that, and people don't like it. Um, so we've had not just symphony orchestras, professional music in general. When you're hired to do a job, you're hired to do a job, and you don't have a lot of freedom unless it's your job and you are the band leader, and then you can pretty much do whatever you want. But in orchestras, weird things happen, and they happen all the time. And one student reminded me of a story which I told the class, and I'll tell it to you guys. Um, we were playing at Ontario Place Forum, which is a round venue. It's gone, but it was a wonderful place to play, except for the birds chirping and the boats honking and the dogs barking and the smell of Lake Ontario, because it was down by Ontario Place. It was right on the lake, basically. And when it rained, the roof leaked, and the all kinds of weird things. Acoustics. You were there to watch. You were there to listen. Um, anyway, we were rehearsing one day, and I was playing crash cymbals. Crash cymbals are very large cymbals, very loud cymbals, and they're meant to be heard by the little old ladies in the very back row. And you hold them by these leather grips, and through the little hole in the cymbal are four pieces of leather, and you tie them in a knot, and hopefully it holds together, and sometimes it doesn't. And during rehearsal, I mean, we were all in shorts and t-shirts, and it was very, very hot, very humid. And I was playing crash cymbals, and I noticed my shoe was undone. So I gave the cymbals to the guy next to me, and I said, just hold on to these for a second. And he's holding them, and I bent over and tying up my shoe. And at that moment in time, the leather knot came loose, and the cymbal hit the floor edge on and proceeded to roll all the way around to the conductor. The stage was wooden, so you can imagine just the cymbal hitting the floor. Scared the living crap out of the entire violin section. They all jumped. It was wonderful to see, actually. Funny. They didn't think it was funny. And the cymbal rolled all the way around, and then did this thing. Um, and the conductor, I'm pretty sure I shaved 15 years off his life, the older guy, and he looked at the Perry, the guy sitting next to me, who was only holding one cymbal. I mean, you know who it was, okay? Can't hide. And he gave him the death stare, and Perry looked at me and he said, "You'll fry in oil for this." I thought it was really. I bought him lunch. I mean, other things happened. That was one of the funnier things. I'm pretty sure the entire violin section was resetting its pacemakers. Oh, by the way, check the shirt. This was the last shirt that the band wore that was issued when we did that concert at the board office, the Peel board office, in December of 2013. And what a concert that was! Holy cow! I can remember it to the acoustics and the playing. You guys did such a phenomenal job, to the point where, and I'll show it to you next time I turn the webcam around. The Peel board actually sent us a certificate commemorating that concert as one of the best concerts held at the board in maybe 4 to 5 years. And they had some powerhouse bands, School for the Arts, that came and played, but they said they never heard a sound and the execution and the playing that we did, and we looked good, we sounded good, we impressed a lot of people that day, and I'm forever grateful. I'm going to post pictures actually of that final concert that Mr. Hill took. Peter Hill, the principal, he was there, and he took pictures for us. Um, Things happen during concerts, especially when you have conductors that are really tall and have very long arms and make big sweeping gestures and everything, and then the orchestra sits somewhat close, not that close, but fairly close to the podium. And in this one instance, I guess they were too close, and we're halfway through a symphony of some kind, and the conductor made this big sweeping gesture with his left hand and knocked the stand of the first chair concertmaster, the violinist, both 5 rows into the audience. Music went everywhere, flutter, flutter, flutter. And so now you're left with a bit of a conundrum. What do you do? Do you stop, which is a cardinal sin? I mean, the roof could collapse, so you don't stop playing. Or do you go on? And in which case, the poor guy playing concert violin, the first chair violinist, is there with nothing in front of him. He's got nothing to play. Should have it memorized anyway. So that's happened a couple times. Conductors have lost their batons. This is mine from even when I was 15 years old. I've had the same baton, and I use it in class. And some batons have this sort of thing on the end, and some batons don't have anything on the end, because some conductors like to live on the edge, and some guitar conductor batons are short, and they come to a point. They're really sharp, and they're easy to slip. And one conductor made a gesture like that, and the baton sailed over the heads of the cellos, like literally just sailed like a dart, and it ended up on the floor. But it was a good thing because it could have caught somebody in the eye. Um, what's the old saying? It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, and then it's a sport. Yeah, that's kind of dangerous. But we had a conductor spear himself through the palm. He did that in rehearsal, and so he went to hospital, and we just canceled the rehearsal. If it happened during a concert, who knows? There would have been blood everywhere. He would have still conducted with this thing in his hand and everything. But it happens. It happens. It's scary. But to the best of my knowledge, nobody's actually died from like death by conductor. Um, Actually, I'm lying. The first official conductor, Jean-Baptiste Lully, was the music director for King Louis XIV of France, the sun god. The guy who invented perfume, because Versailles was basically full of excrement. There was no washrooms back in those days, and you basically pooped anywhere you could in a stairwell or whatever. And King Louis decided to create perfume in Paris to cover up the smell, and that's where perfume comes from. Well, that's why it was invented in the first place. But Jean-Baptiste Lully was the first conductor to die by conducting. And in those days, there was no baton. They had one of these, the marching batons, that the people who conduct parades, and if you watch the British Army changing of the guard, they have one guy with a long stick. The conductor of the orchestra in Paris at the time, Jean Baptiste, would bang on the floor to keep time. So it was like a percussion section in itself, and the orchestra would play accordingly. And I guess he got overexcited one day and banged himself on the foot and developed gangrene in the foot and died as a result of conducting. So there you go. Dangerous occupation. Um, we had sometimes in rehearsals things get really boring, so musicians would play tricks on each other. Um, one one musician basically glued the music of the guy he sits next to. He's an oboe player, and the oboe player next to him, and basically glued pages together. So in the middle of a performance, the page turn, no pages would turn. The guy got him back. He dipped his reeds in Tabasco sauce. Reeds are made of bamboo. Bamboo likes water. It sucks up the water, so it sucked up the Tabasco sauce. And no matter how much this I dipped it in water, it would just spread all over. So he played a very uncomfortable concert. And he came back something else, I forget which. There was one cellist who got into a fight with the guy next to him. In fact, most of these people spend years playing beside each other, but they won't talk to each other. They can't stand each other. And it goes with the territory. Anyway, to play a trick, one guy put a drop of Vaseline on the guy's bowl. So when he put his hand on it, it started to smear all over the place. And Vaseline's a nasty thing because it gets everywhere. Um, one of the percussionists during a rehearsal played that trick on me. He put a drop of Vaseline on each one of my drumsticks. And you reach a drumstick, a timpani mallet, and it gets on your hands, it gets on the stick, it's very hard to control. Um, one stick starts flying over here, I grab for another one, it flies over there. Um, so I got him back, and the way I got him back, unfortunately, I can't tell you because it's I don't want anybody to pull a stunt on anybody else. So maybe I'll tell you a different one, but I got him back, really good. Um, uh, being a member of an orchestra, you have conductors, and we had one Hungarian fellow. I don't remember his name. If I did remember his name, I couldn't pronounce it even then. And his accent was something we'd never heard before. I'm pretty sure it was Hungarian, but it could have been, I don't know, Transylvanian or something like that. And he would say things like, I want the clarinets, the hobos, and the bahasuns. Okay? The clarinets. It wasn't clarinets, it was clarinets. And then the eyebrows. And the hobos, and the bahasuns. There's no H in bassoon, but that's okay. We figured out who it was. And then he would say things like, I want you to play from bar 143. This is the bar after 142. So inevitably somebody would say, is that the bar before 144? Then he would go along with it. Yes, this is the bar before 144. And just like, that's how he talked through the whole rehearsal. The whole, you have to play louder. Cannot hear you. So we would play louder. We'd put loud. It wasn't loud enough. So he'd say, you must play louder. So we'd put ER after loud. And it still wasn't loud enough. So he said, you must play loud. So we had another ER. So it was louder. We had another conductor who, when he got excited, he was an Italian gentleman, an older Italian gentleman, and I'm pretty sure he had high blood pressure and heart condition and all kinds of stuff because it didn't take long. He started screaming. He must have taken lessons from Arturo Toscanini because Toscanini was famous conductor back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And Toscanini would scream at his musicians and rip them apart and basically reduce them to tears. So this guy must have taken a page from him, and he's yelling at us, and we're not sure what he's saying because he's half Italian, using half Italian, half English, and we couldn't figure it out. Finally, he takes off his watch, and he throws it. Why? I mean, you want to see time fly? You just did. That's wonderful. But why? I mean, did it help us all? You know. And musicians, you can't just sort of do what you want. You have to do what they tell you to do, what the doctor wants. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Um, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it. There's you're always under the conductor du jour, and if somebody's really good. Some conductors we really enjoyed playing, like the late Klaus Tenstedt, a West German conductor who was a really tall, skinny guy. And when he conducted, all I could describe it was like a mad stork conducting. But wow, he was wonderful. He was maybe one of the best conductors of the works of Gustav Mahler. He was wonderful at it. Great with the orchestra. And then you had Eric Leinsdorf, who was the conductor of the Boston Symphony for many years. And he was the biggest grump there ever lived. Well, there were, I shouldn't say that. There were lots of other conductors that were grumpy, but this guy was miserable from start to finish, from the first rehearsal right through the concert. I mean, there was nothing this guy liked about anything. And then after the concert, I mean, I have records by this guy's been making records for 35 years. And I stopped him in the stage door leading to Victoria Street at Massey Hall. And I said, Mr. Lansdorf, do you mind if I have your autograph? Because I'm a big fan. I have a point to catch. And away he went. That's how some people are. And then you have conductors that never looked up from their pages. I mean, they conducted like this. And then you have conductors that conduct with their eyes closed, like this. Conducting with your eyes closed is like driving with your eyes closed. I mean, you need the eye contact with the musicians. And I mean, those of you who have been with me in bands will know that I have a flaw. I have many. But one of the things that I cannot break my habit of is when you make a mistake, I look right at you. Though some of you will remember this. And I can't break that habit. I still can't do it. Um, I will look right at you. You make a mistake, it doesn't matter if you're playing like third trumpet somewhere. I will look right at you, and I apologize to the people afterwards. I said I don't mean to do that. It's something that I do. But maintaining eye contact was critical if you're conducting. And we had conductors that would conduct with their eyes closed, thinking they were, I don't know, dancing on some Bollywood stage somewhere. So the four percussion guys, there were four of us, and sitting in the back of the thing, and we took advantage of one conductor, and he would conduct a whole stretch with his eyes closed, and then we took the opportunity. When we saw that happen, we got off the stage, and when he opened his eyes, there was nobody there, in the back there where the drums were, and he wasn't sure if we were there to begin with. We could have gone for coffee. He would never have noticed. And then we had one conductor who started conducting and then realized he'd totally forgotten the music, and the music is right in front of him. But he forgot how it went. Now, I've done this. I've gotten in front of a band, and I can't remember the way the piece went, and I leaned over and I would say to somebody in the front row, hum the first couple bars to me. Whistle or how does it go? And they would, oh, okay, got it. And I would go from there, and that's exactly what he did live in concert. Yeah, he was a little British twit. Um, you barely see over the stand. The stand was right here. His head would be there, kind of like me, but much shorter. He kind of conducted like this because the only way you could see his hands were above the stand. Anyway, I have so many more stories of experiences and pianos being destroyed and drums falling off the stage. And one gentleman who played tenor sax, we did a concert at one of the public schools, and they gave us risers. Well, they gave us a riser, but it didn't have a back lip to it. So I warned people ahead of time. I said, "Be careful! Don't lean back because you'll fall off the back of this riser." And sure enough, this one gentleman who, if he's watching, I don't know if he'll be watching, but what a wonderful musician he was. He's a pianist, a tenor sax player, and he leaned back and he fell off the back of the riser. And his first name was Jeff, and I said, "Jeff, you all right?" "Yeah, the machine's okay, sir. The sax is fine, and I'm okay too." It's boom, landed on his back. So yeah, things happen in concert. No, I'll get to some of those. I'm going to keep it short. Oh, 20 minutes. Good. It's really short. For those of you with severe attention span deficit disorder, um, you know, I'm going to try and shorten the videos. But I have so many stories to tell, and school stories to tell, and so on. I've even got a story about the patch on the sleeve of Lincoln Alexander. That's a story in itself. And so we'll see you next time. Get vaccinated. Um, be safe. Get your second shot. If you haven't had a first shot, get a first shot. If you see somebody without a mask, tell them to put a mask on. Oh, I have a story about that. I've got several stories about that. Anyway, stay safe. Be well. See you next time.